Hello everyone and welcome back to Coach Craig Sports. Today is Saturday, so we're going to be doing the starts and sits video for week number 13. And this is going to be going over all 26 remaining teams yet to play. Pretty much every player on their team telling you whether they be a start or a sit for me. I will not mention too much about the kickers unless there's a notable change from the last time that I did this, which it's been a couple weeks. I had a technical issue and then I was out of town last week, so I do apologize for that. But obviously back at it this week for week number 13. So we're going to start off with the Indianapolis Colts. We got Carson Wentz. He's kind of like a borderline guy. He's a low-end quarterback 1, high-end quarterback 2 if you want to go there. But there is the risk that they could just kind of run over the Texans defense with just using the run, and he's not going to have many points that way as well. So Jonathan Taylor, he's going to be a start. Nyheim Hines is a sit. This is not a game script that favors him in general. Michael Pittman's going to be a start. Zach Pascal, he does play a lot of snaps, but he's still going to be a sit. T.Y. Hilton, look at him as a boom-bust wide receiver 3. If you're in a matchup where you need a bunch of points, you want to get lucky on a guy, T.Y. Hilton's your guy. Obviously, he does have a very good history against the Houston Texans. I know firsthand as a Texans fan that that's about the only thing he does throughout half the year is kill the Texans. But if you want to start him, you can do it. If you have better options, just roll with your better options as well. And then the Colts tight ends, they're all going to be sits at this point in time. You just can't trust any particular one of them at all. And then the Colts defense is going to be a start against the Houston Texans. Not the scariest offense in the world by any means. So Tyrod Taylor, he's going to be a sit for me this week unless you're in a super flex or a 2-quarterback league. David Johnson, Rex Burkhead, these are guys like if you end up with them in your lineup, it's like you're just desperate. So I mean, I do have Rex Burkhead in like a couple different like dynasty deeper leagues like that this week, unfortunately, but that's pretty much the only place I want to play either one of those two. Brandon Cooks is a start as long as he's playing. He's been dealing with an illness throughout the week. Nico Collins could see a little bit of a bump up if something was to happen to Cooks or with Danny Amendola being out as well. But not anybody I'm looking to go out of my way to start this week. Brevin Jordan, he's a fine DFS play, but he's not anybody I want to start in a redraft type of setting. And then the Texans defense is going to be a sit. They're just not that great overall. They haven't been terrible, but they haven't been good either. Then we move over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we got Tom Brady. He's going to be a start. Leonard Fournette's a start. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin start both of them up. Supposedly Mike Evans had a little bit of an injury, but it sounds like he's good to go at this point in time. Obviously, Antonio Brown is still out. Now he's suspended 3 games for a fake COVID card or whatever. We can talk about that some other time if we really want to get into it. Rob Gronkowski is going to be a start as well. And then Tampa Bay defense, start him up as well. So Tampa Bay is pretty easy. It's pretty much all starts all the way across the board. Then on the Falcons side, like Matt Ryan, he's there. He's probably going to be like a high-end quarterback too. The Tampa Bay defense is getting healthier. They do get Carlton Davis back this week as well, so I'm not looking to start Matt Ryan by any means, unless you're in like a 2-quarterback or a super flex league. Mike Davis is going to be a sit. Cordell Patterson's a start, one of the few starts on this team. The wide receivers, just can't trust any of them at this point in time. Tajay Sharp, Russell Gage, Olamide Zaccheaus, don't trust any of them. They're all sits for me. Kyle Pitts, you can start. He's kind of been up and down so far this year. You might get a good game, you might get a bad game, but he's worth starting at this point in time. Falcons defense, obviously they're not very good, and Tampa Bay's offense is looking for blood. They're looking for points, and it's probably not going to be too good for that Falcons defense overall. Then we move over to the Bears, and they are without Justin Fields once again. Andy Dalton gets to start at quarterback. He's going to be a sit. The Cardinals defense has been pretty solid so far this year. They get some pressure on the quarterback. The Bears offensive line hasn't been the best, so Andy Dalton could be a rough little day for him, even though he's kind of looked good since coming in that Ravens game, playing against the Lions too, but it's a little bit different matchup this week. David Montgomery is going to be a start. Darnell Mooney is essentially the only wide receiver in town, so he's going to be a start as well. Allen Robinson doubtful to play. Marquise Goodwin is already ruled out. Cole Kmet, you can play him if you need to, but Cardinals have been kind of tough on tight ends this year, so it's not anything I'm doing myself personally. Bears defense is going to be a sit, especially if Kyler Murray is playing in this game. Then on the Cardinals side, as long as Kyler Murray plays, you're going to start him. If he doesn't play, then obviously sit him. Pretty simple there. James Conner is going to be a start. AJ Green, we had a couple good weeks with him. Didn't really amount to much after that, so he's going to be a sit. Christian Kirk, he's kind of like that guy I'd be willing to take a dart throw on this week. Obviously, depends if DeAndre Hopkins plays or not as well, but you could definitely do a lot worse than Christian Kirk. Probably a wide receiver 3 flex play type of option. DeAndre Hopkins, as long as he's playing, you're going to start him, but if he doesn't play, then you're obviously going to sit him. Looks like he's trending towards playing, though. Rondell Moore, he's going to be a sit at this point in time. We did see some more targets for him last week, but he's just been super volatile this year, and it's not anything you can really trust in a redraft type of setting. Maybe if you want to play him in DFS, you can do that. And then Zach Ertz, he's going to be a start for me, low on tight end 1. He bumps up a little bit if DeAndre Hopkins is out because he's obviously going to get a little bit more volume. Cardinals defense, you can definitely start them this week against the Bears offense that's missing a lot of pieces. Andy Dalton at quarterback. Their offensive line is not that good, as I already mentioned. Then we move over to the Chargers. So Justin Herbert's, he's going to be a start. Cincinnati's defense has been really, really hit or miss this year, so we'll see how this game ends up for him. Austin Eckler's a start. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, they're a start as long as they're both playing. I know both of them have been banged up at some point this week. I really haven't heard anything otherwise, but it looks like they both should play. Jared Cook, if you really, really need to go there for a tight end, you could do a lot worse, but you could still do better at the same time. Then the Chargers defense, not really looking to start them against the Bengals. They could get beat up pretty good in this game on the run by Joe Mixon and company. Then on the Bengals side of the ball, we got Joe Burrow. He is a low-end quarterback 1, high-end quarterback 2 for me this week. It's not the best matchup in the world, but it's not the worst matchup in the world either. So if you have a better option, just roll with your better option. If you don't, I guess you're stuck playing Joe Burrow. It could definitely be a lot worse. He's like my quarterback 13 or 14 on the week. So then Joe Mixon, this is a smash spot for him against that Chargers defense that has very much struggled to stop the run. So no questions asked here. He's been great so far this season. Tyler Boyd's going to be a sit. His production's really fallen off this year with the emergence of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, you're going to start both of them up. Pretty simple there. CJ Uzomah, streamable tight end if you want to take a shot on him this week, but you should have a better option available to you. Probably a little bit better DFS play than anything at this point in time. Bengals defense, they're like middle of the pack. Like if you don't have a clear better option, you could throw them out there, but I'm not personally doing it myself. Then we move over to the Vikings. So we got Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a low-end quarterback 1 this week, high-end quarterback 2. He has some pretty good upside against the poor Detroit Lions defense, but they could also run right over the Lions defense. So you can start Kirk Cousins if you need to. If you got a better option, roll with your better option. Alexander Madison, who is taking the place of Dalvin Cook this week, he's going to be a must-start against the Lions defense overall. Maybe temper your expectations just a little bit because they did bottle up David Montgomery a little bit, but I'm not too worried about this overall. Justin Jefferson's a start. Adam Thielen's a start. Keep in mind, Adam Thielen has a strangely odd, not quite as productive history against the Lions. It's kind of a weird way of putting it, but he's a start, but he doesn't have those big boom games against the Lions for whatever reason. Tyler Conklin, he's a middle pack tight end. I probably tried to get somebody else better in my lineup this week than Tyler Conklin, but if you need to play him, you can play him. It's not the worst thing in the world, but the Lions, they've kind of been middle of the pack against the tight end so far this season. Vikings defense, yes, they are not very good this season, but they're playing the Lions, so they are a streamable defense this week. On the Lions side of the ball, Jared Goff, he's going to be a sit. It's Jared Goff. It's this Lions offense. It's nothing too exciting. Jamal Williams taking the place of DeAndre Swift. He's going to be a start. He's a solid, mid to low end running back 2 this week. So if you have a better option, you can roll with your better option, but you could definitely do a lot worse than Jamal Williams this week in general. Josh Reynolds, if you really need a dart throw, a wide receiver this week, for somebody to fill in as wide receiver 3 flex spot, Josh Reynolds could be your guy. Not banking on it, but if you're in a deeper league, definitely would consider him as well. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, not excited about starting either one of them, so they're both going to be sits. TJ Hawkinson is a start. Lions defense, not very good, so they're going to be a sit either way. I think Riley Patterson's going to be the kicker. Could be Rojas, could be whoever, because the Lions, it just seems like every week is somebody different, so we'll just have to see. But whoever the Lions kicker is, I'm not starting them regardless. Then for the Giants, we got Mike Glennon starting at quarterback instead of Daniel Jones, who's dealing with a neck injury. He's going to be a sit this week. Saquon Barkley's a start. I look at him like a high-end running back 2 this week. And then at wide receiver, we got Kenny Galladay. Low-end wide receiver 3, flex play if you really need to go there. I'm not going there myself personally. Darius Slayton's going to be a sit. Evan Ingram, he's a middle pack tight end this week. You should be able to do better, so he's going to be a sit for me as well. Giants defense is a sit, even though the Miami Dolphins offense is not that explosive overall. Then on the Dolphins side of the ball, we got Tua. If you're in a 2-quarterback league or a super flex league, you can definitely start Tua as your quarterback 2, but in a 1-quarterback league, I would not be starting him this week. Myles Gaskin is a start. Salvon Ahmed behind him is going to be a sit. Jalen Waddle is a start. Preston Williams, he's going to be a sit. There could be Devontae Parker back this week. If he plays, I'm probably not going to go out of my way to play him because he is coming off an injury that he's missed, I believe, 4 or 5 weeks at this point in time now. So I'm not really super excited about starting him if he is even active. Mike Gesicki, you can start at tight end. Dolphins defense, they're going to be one of the better defenses this week going against Mike Glennon. And, this putrid Giants offense overall. No offense to Giants fans, but this offense is just not good. Then we move over to the Jets, who have Zach Wilson at quarterback. I do love me some Zach Wilson, long term, but not for this week. He's going to be a sit. Tevin Coleman, if you really, really need a running back 2 or a low-end flex play or something like that, you could play Tevin Coleman. I'm not going out of my way to do it. Ty Johnson's kind of in that same regard, but he offers some pass catching upside, but I'm not trusting him this week. He's going to be a sit. Corey Davis, if he ends up playing, I guess you could throw him out there as a wide receiver 3 flex play, but probably not going to trust it this week. I'm not sure he's even going to play. Jamison Crowder, he's going to be a sit. Elijah Moore, I did end up playing in one of my leagues last week and it just didn't turn out too well. But if he's out there, you can definitely play him. Wide receiver 3, flex spot type of guy. Then Ryan Griffin, I like him in DFS. I think he's a great play there because he's super cheap, and the Eagles have been terrible against tight ends this year. But in redraft type of setting, it's just a little bit too risky for me overall. Jets defense is going to be a sit since they have not been that great this season. Then on the Eagles side of the ball, we got Jalen Hurts. He's been questionable. He's been dealing with a little bit of ankle injury too. Might impact the ceiling just a little bit. I do assume that he ends up playing. I'm still going to start him unless you have a clear, better option at this point in time. Miles Sanders, he's kind of frustrating too because he's been kind of banged up himself, or at least he was in the last game. But it sounds like he's good to go this week, so he's going to be a start, probably a low-end running back 2 flex play type of option for me. Boston Scott been dealing with an illness like all week. He's actually questionable to play as well, so we'll see if he ends up playing or not, but he's going to be a sit for me. Devonta Smith, he is a start for me this week. It's kind of been up and down so far this season, but you're going to have to chase those good weeks sometimes unless you have a clear, better option at that wide receiver position. Quez Watkins, Jalen Reagor, they're both going to be sits for me. Jalen Reagor's been terrible. Like, I don't even want to talk about it, how bad he's been. And then Dallas Goedert at tight end. Definitely can start him this week. Eagles defense, they are a very good streamable defense this week again versus the New York Jets offense that's not been that great this season, missing some pieces as well. Then we move over to the Washington football team. So we got Taylor Heineke at quarterback. He's a high-end quarterback too for me this week. I think he could be an okay matchup, but not anybody I'm going out of my way to start. Antonio Gibson is going to be a start. J.D. McKissick is not playing in this game, so we'll see if Antonio Gibson gets some more pass-catching work. Maybe it goes to Wendell Smallwood or Jarrett Patterson too. I don't even know, but it could be a good week for Antonio Gibson overall. Terry McLaurin, he's a start for me. Curtis Samuel, DeAndre Carter, kind of the 2 other wide receivers at this point in time. They're both going to be sets for me. They both could have some production. We could see Curtis Samuel get maybe a little bit more involved in that J.D. McKissick role as well, some of that underneath passing work, since we've seen that from him in the past before. Logan Thomas is going to be a start for me this week. Low end tight end 1. Temper your expectations just a little bit since it is his second week back. Washington defense, they're going to be a set for me this week. And then Brian Johnson does take over as kicker. And we saw him with the Saints, and he wasn't that good there, so he's going to be a set as well. On the Raiders side of the ball, we got Derek Carr, high-end quarterback 2 this week. Not anybody I'm really looking to start, but if you don't have a clear, better option, you could definitely play him instead. Josh Jacobs, he's going to be a start. Kenyon Drake's a sit. Hunter Renfro's a start. Probably better in PPR leagues, of course, but wide receiver 3, flex play if you need to go there. Brian Edwards is going to be a sit. Foster Moreau taking over for Darren Waller, who's unlikely to play in this game. He was doubtful. I'm not sure if he's been ruled out at this point in time yet, but if he is, I'll leave a comment down below as well. But safe to assume that Foster Moreau is going to be the main tight end in this game overall. So he is like a back-end tight end 1, high-end tight end 2 this week. If you need to play him, you can play him. Definitely a great streamable tight end. Definitely one of the better DFS plays, especially on the DraftKings side this week overall. And then that Raiders defense, just not interested in starting them at this point in time. We move over to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and there's not a lot to like here, honestly. Trevor Lawrence is going to be a sit. James Robinson, as long as he's playing, you'll start him, but he had that heel injury. Now he's dealing with a knee injury, so we'll see if he plays or not. I think he came out of the game last week, and Carlos Hyde kind of came in too. So low-end running back 2 this week. If Carlos Hyde somehow ends up playing and James Robinson misses, then Carlos Hyde would be like a low-end running back 2 flex play if you need to go there. Laviska Shenault, Marvin Jones, not really excited about either 2 of these. It's a tough defensive matchup as well, so not a lot to like here about the Jaguars. I mean, if you really want to try to do a punt play in James O'Shaughnessy, I'd probably do it in DFS, not in redraft. And then that defense for the Jaguars, just not that great overall. I know they had some good weeks, but not anybody that you want to start in fantasy at least. Then on the Rams side of the ball, we'll start Matthew Stafford. Darrell Henderson, if he does play, we'll start him. If he doesn't play, then obviously you're going to start Sony Michel. Pretty simple there. Cooper Kupp's a must start. Odell Beckham Jr., he's like a wide receiver 3 flex play if you need to go there. Same thing with Van Jefferson. Both of them are playable. Odell Beckham Jr. is a little bit banged up too. If he doesn't end up playing, then obviously Van Jefferson looks a whole lot better this week. Tyler Higbee, not really going there myself personally. He's been really inconsistent once again, and it's kind of been a lot of down weeks more of late. The Rams defense obviously going to be one of the better defenses on the week, so they are a start. We move over to the Baltimore Ravens. So we got Lamar Jackson. He's going to be a start. The Ravens running backs, Devonta Freeman, Latavius Murray. I think you can start Devonta Freeman if you really need to do so. Low-end running back 2, flex play if you need to go there. And Latavius Murray, more like a running back 3 or a flex play if you really, really need to go there. But unless you're in a super deep league, I'm not doing it personally. Marquise Brown, you can start. Rashad Bateman, I know like everybody loves this guy, but he played the same amount of snaps as Devin Duvernay and Sammy Watkins last week. I don't see it there for fantasy, at least at this point in time. So he's going to be a sit. Sammy Watkins is a sit. Mark Andrews is a start. Ravens defense, you can start them. They're like a top 12 defense this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are really a hard team to judge because sometimes they just look like crap, and then the other times they actually look like a decent offense. And this Ravens defense is not quite as good as we expected coming into the season, but they are still a defense that's worth starting in fantasy this week at least. On the Steelers side of the ball, we're going to sit Ben Roethlisberger. Najee Harris is going to be a start. Chase Claypool, I think you have to start him at this point in time. It's just the upside there is too great. Deontay Johnson's obviously going to be a start. James Washington's a sit. Pat Freiermuth, low end tight end 1, high end tight end 2. If you need to start him, definitely go ahead and do it. Don't have a problem with that. And that Steelers defense, they're like a top 15 defense for me this week, but they're not anybody I really want to start against the Ravens because the Ravens could always put up a ton of points as well. Moving over to the 49ers, it's a pretty short list this week. We got Jimmy Garoppolo, streamable quarterback this week if you really, really need to go there. Low-end quarterback 1, high-end quarterback 2. Elijah Mitchell's going to be a start. Brandon Ayuk's a start without Deebo Samuel playing. George Kittle's a start. He looks pretty good without Deebo as well. And then that 49ers defense, they're like a streamable defense for me this week. I do like them a lot in DFS. Not sure if I'm playing them in redraft or not because that Seattle Seahawks offense could kind of come alive at any point in time, but Russell Wilson has not looked good since he's returned to the lineup. On the Seahawks side of the ball, I'm going to sit Russell Wilson this week. He's like a high-end quarterback 2 for me this week, maybe a low-end quarterback 1. There is that upside there, but it's just so risky at this point in time. Seattle Seahawks running backs, oh my God, this is a mess. They signed Adrian Peterson this week, and he's actually going to be active for this game too, so don't trust any of these guys. They're all kind of the same. Like, there's not much difference between Adrian Peterson and Alex Collins at this point in time, honestly. Then we got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, a great matchup for both of them. I feel like you start them. You just got to temper your expectations and know that this could go terribly wrong as well at the same time. Gerald Everett, I do like him. I recommend him in the waiver wire pickup, but he's a set for me this week. Going forward, he's probably going to be a start, but not this week. Then we got the Seattle Seahawks defense. Not interested in starting them this week, so they're going to be a sit as well. Moving over to the Sunday night football game, we got the Denver Broncos. Teddy Bridgewater is a sit for me. Javonte Williams is going to be the main running back this week because Melvin Gordon's doubtful at this point in time, so he's unlikely to play. Javonte Williams is looking pretty good. He has that upside of a high-end running back too this week. Then we have Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick. I'm not excited about starting any of these three this week. One of them could pan out, but not really anything for me. You know, kind of wide receiver 3, flex plays if I really need to go there. Noah Fant is a guy that I would consider starting at tight end. Kansas City has really struggled against that tight end position so far this season. So Noah Fant could have another nice game against them. I believe he had a pretty nice game against them one of the games last year too as well. Denver Broncos defense against Kansas City. No, we're not going there. And then we move over to the Chiefs side of the ball. So we got Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be a start. These two running backs, I'm not sure what to make of this situation. We got Darrell Williams, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You know, they're kind of flex plays for me. If you need to go there, you can play them. If you don't need to go there, just don't go there. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce are both starts. Chiefs defense, they're middle of the pack defense this week. They have not been that good this season, but I don't really trust this Denver Broncos offense and Teddy Bridgewater in general. So you could do worse. You could definitely do worse, but you could definitely do better at the same time as well. Then last but not least, we move over to the Monday Night Football game. So we got the Patriots. We got Mac Jones. He's going to be a sit for me this week. Buffalo Bills defense has been pretty good, solid so far this season. Damian Harris is going to be a start as long as he's playing. Jacoby Myers, you can start. Nelson Aguilar, I do like as a sneaky play in this matchup, probably more for DFS than anything. You know, going against the corner that is replacing Tre'Davious White, which is probably going to be Dane Jackson, since that's the side that Nelson Aguilar does line up on and Tre'Davious White traditionally lined up on more times than not. So he could be in play. I know people like Kendrick Bourne because he's had those nice couple weeks, but he's going to be a sit for me this week. Jonnu Smith's a sit. Hunter Henry, God, he's like a borderline tight end this week. I think you can definitely do better than him this week because the Bills have been tough on tight ends in the past. Then for the Patriots defense, they're a sit. I know they played very well this season, but that Bills offense, they have the potential to come alive at any point in time as well. Then on the Bills side of the ball, we got Josh Allen. He's going to be a start. Just temper your expectations going against a tough defense in general. The running back position, Matt Breida, Devin Singletary. If Zach Moss ends up active, who knows? Like, this is not anyone that I want to start unless I'm super desperate in a super deep league or anything like that. Stephon Diggs, you're going to start him up. Maybe you temper your expectations just a little bit, but he did have a pretty solid game against the Patriots last season. This year, a little bit lesser, but you know, Stephon Diggs is Stephon Diggs. You're going to start him like regardless based on where you drafted him, based on who he is. Emmanuel Sanders, wide receiver 3 flex play for me this week. Cole Beasley, you know, wide receiver 3 flex play. I do like him quite a bit because I think his matchup is pretty solid overall against Myles Bryant in the slot. You know, that should be a favorable matchup for him more times than not, unless Jonathan Jones is somehow back this week. Even if that's the case, then he would be coming off of injury. So Cole Beasley's still going to have an advantage there as well. Dawson Knox, I think you definitely do a lot worse at tight end. Just temper your expectations just a little bit with him this week. Then that Bills defense, I think they're like a borderline defense that you could play this week. Patriots offense, yes, they've had some explosive plays. They put some points up on the board, but they kind of been beaten up on these lesser teams or these really banged up teams at this point in time as well. So Bills defense, you could do a lot worse, but you could do a little bit better as well. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown on the 26 remaining teams in terms of starts and sits for this week. If you have any other start-sit questions in general, feel free to leave them down in the comments. Just make sure you put like, should I start player A, player B, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 2 out of 5, anything like that. Also be sure to leave the scoring format as well, and I'll answer your questions as quickly as possible. But with that being said, if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your fantasy football teams, helping you with your DFS, whether it's NFL or NBA. And then with that being said, if you are new or current subscribers yet to do so, also be sure to hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I upload a new video. I upload at least 10 videos a week at this point in time. I do daily NBA DFS videos as well as 4 or 5 days of fantasy football and NFL DFS content. So if you're into any of that, which I'm guessing you're at least into the fantasy football part since you're watching this video, I would definitely recommend subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you never miss a beat. And then always feel free to reach out to me with any other questions that you guys do have as well. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And then last but not least, special little shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.